as EU law becomes more and more entrenched in Northern Ireland, and the government is saying that it intends to have a bonfire of EU regulations in the rest of the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland gets more and more separated from the rest of the United Kingdom.
I'm going to bring in the other... No, that's not acceptable to you. No, I understand that. I just want to say we're going to bring in the others into the discussion.
I think the thing to keep remembering is the reason why this is happening is because of choices that the Conservative Party and the DUP made about what type of Brexit they wanted. It was inevitable, once they decided that they wanted the hardest of hard Brexits, that there was going to be a border. And then, as a consequence of that, there were going to be checks. So that's where we are. And they signed that agreement. And the thing that's so important about this is if we are now in a position, having built up goodwill, and actually I agree with Richard on this, there was goodwill built up over Ukraine, the moment now would be not to be hardline, but to use the goodwill to create, for example, a veterinary agreement, an SPS agreement that would actually solve many of the problems, particularly with food crossing the border.
But that means the whole of the UK being
Absolutely,
totally
and actually that would benefit farmers in the UK too.
Well, Sammy, what do you think about that idea?
I think that all along, and this really shows what the true intent of the protocol was. The true intent of the protocol was to try and tie the whole of the United Kingdom into the EU regime through the back door in Northern Ireland. It was not inevitable that there should be a border between Northern Ireland and GB, or indeed border checks between Northern Ireland and the rest of the island, because there are other means by doing it, and indeed the political declaration which accompanied the protocol talked about working towards those alternative arrangements.
Sammy, the way...
Well, hang on, let Leila respond, Sammy.
Sammy, has not been prepared to look at the alternative arrangements.
Sammy, I think everyone wants this to work out, but there was always a Brexit trilemma, right? As soon as you went for that hard Brexit, you couldn't, on the one hand, leave the customs union and single market and not have some kind of checks. That was really clear from the beginning. And in fact, I'm pretty sure on this programme it was discussed at length. Everyone knew that that was going to happen.
Nobody's arguing against that.
Then,
it's just a disproportionate
we now
nature
need to find new ways of getting people around the table to talk. And my worry about where we are now with, the rhetoric from Liz Truss, the rhetoric from the government and indeed the DUP is that what we need is people to come together, to build goodwill, to work together. This kind of hard-line negotiating position, I think, doesn't achieve that. And ultimately, if you look at the results of the last election, what are we talking about? It's cost of living. If we want to start a trade war with the EU, that is how you're going to have higher prices and make that even worse. That is not what in anyone's interest at all, including the people of Northern Ireland.